Welcome to Open Your Reality. My name is, I can't say my name, but it's okay. I've always been fascinated by the strange edges of human consciousness. Yes, I have a canvas here. It's the places where science blurs into mysticism, and mysticism quietly overlaps with reality. That's why I named my channel Open Your Reality. But there was one topic that I kept avoiding, one that felt a little too unbelievable for me, and that is remote viewing. See, I'll be honest, I didn't really believe in remote viewing at first, not even a little bit, until I started researching it. And that research led me down a path that changed the way that I understand reality forever. And it all began when I picked up a copy of Jim Marrs' book, Alien Agenda. This is a great book. And I expected a fun, curious read about UFOs and hidden government programs, but buried in those pages was a story that shook me more than anything else in the book. Because it wasn't about aliens. It was about us. It was about the mind and what human beings are truly capable of. And what remote viewers allegedly found when they pushed the veil of ordinary perception. So the deeper that I dug, the more I realized that remote viewing wasn't a pseudoscience. It was virtually a classified weapon. You like my writing? It was a psychic spy tool. It was something that intelligence agencies feared, they funded, they used, and ultimately they tried to bury.
How much money did they dump into this program?
We don't know exactly. Joe personally told me over a lunch, millions. So more than one, officially. I don't know how many millions, but it was very important for the United States to be able to investigate whether or not this had intelligence capabilities and what level of benefit that could be gleaned from investigating this type of because they started getting amazing viewings out of Joe right away, and it's like, okay, well, how many amazing LeBron James of consciousness are there to say, this person can sit in a room and tell me what's going on at a location and potential future events? Because some of the remote viewers that the CIA used were able to produce the effects of nuclear tests that had been secret until the remote viewer said this is going to happen.
And the question that kept echoing in my mind was simple. What did they see that frightened them so much? These are the origins they don't teach in school. Nobody tells you about remote viewing in school. You have to watch videos like this or read books. But remote viewing wasn't born out of spiritual retreats or New Age circles. It actually grew out of fear. Because in the early 1970s, US intelligence agencies became convinced that the Soviets were spending millions of dollars, which today is worth a lot more, training psychics. And they believed that the Soviets had people who could read sealed documents, view distant military sites, locate submarines, identify hidden nuclear facilities, and really go anywhere. And if the Soviets were doing it, then America had to do it as well. So the CIA quietly funded a program at Stanford Research Institute that they now called the Stargate Project. And what happened inside that program is still not fully declassified.
Can you remote view through time?
Yes, not a problem. You can go back in time, you can go forward in time. There's some proof that no human being operates in the moment. We're affected by our past, we're affected by our future. We know that to be true. We just don't know what the aperture is. We do know going into the past is way easier than going into the future. And the reason why is you go into the past, all the concepts that support action in the past, you're familiar with.
Would it be possible to manipulate time?
Yeah, I suppose you could if you had enough advance warning on something. You could be looking for it to the point that you could use it.
But enough information has leaked out to paint a most disturbing picture. Because the remote viewers didn't just see buildings or documents or weapons. They saw things that no one expected. Things no one was prepared to explain. Things that didn't fit within the limits of physical reality. You see, the first shocking result, and this came from one of the first remote viewers whose name was Ingo Swann, he was asked to describe a location inside a sealed envelope. And he didn't just describe it correctly, he described details no one had noticed. And later, they confirmed everything. But that wasn't the strange part. The strange part came when they asked him to view the dark side of the moon. Yes, the CIA asked remote viewers to describe locations on the moon. And what they reported was quite unnerving. They saw glowing lights, they saw structures, they saw tunnels, they saw movement, and something that looked like machinery, and beings that were humanoid, but they weren't exactly human. And these reports weren't one-offs. There were multiple remote viewers in Project Stargate, and they all claimed the same thing. And Jim Marrs wrote about these incidents in Alien Agenda, which I read back in the late 90s. And I still think it's one of the best works you can read. Talks about crop circles, UFO, abductions. But for me, the most fascinating chapter, it's called In the Mind's Eye, and it's about what these remote viewers saw. I've made videos about this before, but it's always good to rehash every year or so.
Ingo Swann projects himself to the moon. What he finds is insane.
There are some fascinating stories from the military research that was done by the CIA in remote viewing. Officially, the US military shut down the project. Unofficially, they transferred it into what they call deep black project so that they are not answerable to anybody. Ingo Swann records how at one point he got bored with his exercises. They were too basic. They asked him to project himself to the moon and seeing things on the moon, then on Venus and Mars. In certain cases, when he projected himself on the moon, he even found beings, human-like bodies who were working there, some mining operation going on, obviously extraterrestrial. And in one case, when he found himself projected, he was looking at them, and out of curiosity, he approached this person, wondering what is he doing. And the person turns around and looks at him straight and points to him and shouts, "There's somebody here." So that person had the ability of perceiving someone else in an out-of-body condition, recognizing him. And so the fear in Ingo Swann was so great, he pulled back, came back, and that whole thing was shut down. The military asked him to stop this experiment. But what was interesting is, because he had projected himself, he could be detected.
I think they have spotted me. Axel. They were pointing at me, I think. How could they do that unless they have some kind of high psychic perceptions too? Axel said in a calm, low voice. So low I hardly heard it at first. Please quickly come away from that place. My eyes were wide as understanding drained in. That they can trace where this psychic probe is coming from? Is that it? Axel had started smiling again. If it's telepathy, then it's a different kind, at least from how it is understood here on Earth.
If it was done in a purely mental consciousness, without a vital exteriorization, the mind simply turns, becomes aware, and like a mirror, reflects an image of whatever exists anywhere in the universe. You have not gone somewhere, and there is no way for them to know that you are there.
Using government documents, whistleblower testimonies, and first-hand interviews, Jim Marrs paints this first-hand picture. And as I read it, I kept asking myself, were these remote viewers, were they hallucinating? Were they making it up? Or did they truly glimpse something that was not meant to be seen? But in reality, the strangest revelations didn't come from exploring space. They came from exploring time. Yes, time. Remote viewers not only see in the past, they see in the future as well. And another discovery from the Stargate project shocked even the researchers. Because remote viewers are not limited by distance. No. They were not limited by locked rooms, foreign countries, planets, oceans, space, nothing. They were not limited by time, and they were not limited by distance. And some viewers were tasked with describing ancient civilizations, vanished cities, extinct species, and prehistoric events. And the accuracy of these remote viewers was quite startling. But what truly broke the rules, I think, was this. They began describing future events. And now, to be clear, remote viewing isn't 100% reliable. It's kind of like a little bit of a blurry signal. But there were moments when viewers predicted events days or weeks before they happened. And the intelligence agencies took it seriously enough that millions of more dollars were quietly funneled into the program. Because if human consciousness could reach across time and space, then the entire foundation of cause and effect becomes questionable. So Jim Marrs suggested something bold in his book, that remote viewing works because consciousness exists outside of the physical body and outside of linear time. It exists in what some people call the field, and there was a great book written by Lynn McTaggart on that, or source, which Liz Cross talks about, which I'm going to make a video about soon, and also the non-local mind, similar to the holographic universe that Michael Talbot talked about, or some people call it the universal conscious mind. Whatever you name that you give to it, it's the same thing that mystics and ancient cultures have described for thousands of years. But the remote viewers didn't just travel through time. They encountered something far more unsettling, something that made the US government classify much of their work and Project Stargate. They saw intelligence, other consciousness, other beings. And what they found beyond human perception is particularly interesting. And this part is rarely discussed publicly, but it appears in scattered testimony and in Marrs research, because these remote viewers claim to encounter non-human minds that were observing the Earth. Entities that seemed curious about us. Some were indifferent, some were ancient, some were overwhelmingly advanced. And one viewer said it felt like being watched by something older than time. Another described a presence that filled the room. And these weren't dreams. They were not hallucinations. They were consistent experiences across multiple trained viewers. And here's what's so unsettling about what most researchers found. That these entities seemed aware that they were being observed by these remote viewers. And Ingo Swann once wrote that when he attempted to remote view a particular extraterrestrial structure, the occupants noticed him and the connection broke instantly. Same thing when he was looking, or another remote viewer was looking at Eisenhower talking to several aliens at Edwards Air Force Base sometime in the mid-50s. One of the aliens said, "We have a visitor." And Eisenhower and his men said, "Well, there's nobody in the room but us." And the alien said, "Forget about it, I'll take care of it," and he broke the transmission. So that single detail appears again and again in the records, that these transmissions can be cut. So something on the other side, whether it was an alien or a being, was paying attention and noticed that. It's just so fascinating to me. It really does prove that time is really one of the greatest illusions. So what happens when you train dozens of people to look beyond the physical world and something actually looks back? Well, you shut the program down. Shut down. Well, at least publicly. That's what they told us publicly. You see, the government shut it down, but not for the reason you think. Officially, the Stargate project ended in 1995, and the CIA claimed the results were unreliable and inconsistent, but in large part, that was BS or bullshit. But Jim Marrs and many insiders tell a completely different story. They claim remote viewing was shut down because, well, it worked too well, it was uncontrollable, it led viewers to discover things outside of military interest, and it touched questions the government didn't really want answered, and it opened doors that could not be closed. And most disturbingly, remote viewers began reporting the existence of non-human intelligences involved in Earth's development. I know. Now, when I first read this, I didn't know what to think. Was all this just metaphors? Was it wishful thinking, misinterpretation? But the more testimonies I read, the more patterns that I saw. Patterns that would repeat again and again across different viewers, different agencies, and even different decades. I think I need a new piece of paper. And these patterns suggested that remote viewers were not exploring fantasy. No, they were exploring a deeper level of reality. One that the average person will never see. One that I think potentially I could be seeing in my dreams, fragments, for myself. But overall, there is a hidden architecture. There is something that is behind the simulation that allows these remote viewers to access it. And that's why I've been so fascinated with remote viewing. Now, once you see the hidden architecture here, you can never go back to the simple physical view of the world again. Because like in the Matrix movie, once you come out of it, you can never unsee it. And so after researching this for months and years and reading declassified documents and books like Alien Agenda and hearing testimony from the remote viewers themselves, I came to this realization. That remote viewing isn't about psychic powers. It's not about telepathy, and it's not about magic. Not at all. It is about consciousness. And this is something that I discovered when I looked at the work of Tom Campbell. Because Tom Campbell says that we could actually use our consciousness to look back in time, forward in time, to even go back in time and change different parameters to see how the future would play out or how the past would play out. But it doesn't change our current reality. That might be a little bit of a complicated thing to explain, but consciousness, remember, it exists outside the body. It's not in your head. That's why when people have a near-death experience and their body is lying down, their consciousness is hovering above, because the consciousness is not in the body. So it's not limited. Consciousness is not limited by distance. It's not limited by time. It's connected to everything, and it can interface with a greater intelligence. Now, it could also access information the physical senses cannot, what Tom Campbell would call the database. And this database, some people equate it to the Akashic records, which holds all the information that has ever happened. It's kind of like when you play a video game. All that information in the video game is stored, all right, and it can be accessed. But actually, when we play this virtual reality game called life, we only see what's rendered. So right now, there's nobody in my small apartment but myself, and I'm looking down at this paper. So I can't see the kitchen, I can't see the dining room, I can't see the bathroom. So those things are all in superposition. And they exist as potentials. But once I focus on it, then they become reality. It's very similar to a video game. And with remote viewing, I think it works like that too. Wherever we direct our consciousness, whether it's to a particular location or whether it's to a particular time, we see that. We observe that. And so remote viewing, it's not a glitch. It's actually a reminder of our true nature. I think a lot of people in the past were able to remote view. I think it's a reminder that we are part of something much larger than we've been taught. I mean, think about it. We go to school, we're taught to be automatons and to work a 9-to-5 job, and we focus, we tunnel focus on making money just to pay our bills, just so we can survive. But maybe we're more than that. I mean, we've always been more than physical beings trapped in physical bodies. But here's the part that still keeps me awake. But if human consciousness can reach across time and space, what else is watching us do it? Because here's the final realization. I never expected to say this, but after everything that I've researched, which has been going on now for about 30 years, yeah, long time, I don't think remote viewing is dangerous. I think it's just like a gun. It really depends how you use it. It's not dangerous because of what people can spy on. It becomes dangerous because it exposes the illusion. And there are people that use it to nefarious ends. But I think ultimately, remote viewing exposes the truth that consciousness is not inside us. We are inside it. And that the universe may be filled with intelligences that already know this. So remote viewing is not just a military tool. I think anybody could do it if they really put their mind to it. But it would require, now some people are more talented or have more innate skills than others. For someone like myself, it might require 4 to 5 hours a day of practice. Now, I need to focus on making money in life to survive. So I don't have that time. But if you really wanted it, if you really, really wanted it, I think it could be done. I don't know, though, how you would make money off it, how you would utilize it. But I think if I had to choose one superpower, man, remote viewing might be it. Because it just allows you to peek through the doorway. And look, the crack is still there. If you look closely, if you pay attention, you can still see the light shining through. It never goes away. So I'll leave you with this question that I can't stop asking. If remote viewers could see across space, across time, across dimensions, then what exactly is waiting on the other side of consciousness right now and watching us back? So look, there's a lot more that I want to say about this. There are so many things that these remote viewers saw. I'll put it into another video, but I just wanted to, try a different format here. I mean, this may not look the best. I'm going to make it better, but I wanted to come back with a video. It's been a while since I posted, and I want to post consistently. And this is the style that I want to make. This is just kind of makeshift. I want it to be better lighting, better angles, all that stuff. Better drawing here. This all looks like speckled crap. Kind of looks like those Rorschach tests. I took one when I was in elementary school. But anyway, thank you for watching until the end. I appreciate everybody, and I will be back with another video shortly. Take care.